Good morning, students. In today's class of retail management, we will continue with the subject which was we are continuing in the previous class, that is Indian retail sector structures. In the previous class, we have studied about the what is the retail sector and what is the scope and growth of Indian retail sector. We have studied what is the size of the market, and we also studied what are the future opportunities available for the Indian retail sector. So we have also studied what are the various Indian retail sector structure, that is organized retail and unorganized retail. We have understood unorganized retail. We have understood what are the various challenges that are available, are posing a problem for the unorganized retailing. And in today's class, we'll start with the another structure of Indian retail sector structure, that is organized retailing. Okay. So in today's class, we'll continue with this previous topic and we'll try to understand what is organized retailing. Organized retailing. Organized retailing means organized retailing identifies trading activities carried out by licensed vendors. So this is very important to understand because here the retail shops in organized retailing is uh, undertook or carried out by licensed vendor. You cannot just enter an organized retailing without having license to continue the business, without having requisite registrations, affiliations, and following the rules and regulations of the government. So if you don't follow this, you cannot enter into the organized retail. And in order to enter the organized retail, you have to be a licensed vendor. You should have certain license and affiliations. Second, it includes the following types of outlets: corporate backed hypermarkets, supermarkets, retail chain, and also privately held retail businesses. Okay, these are the various types that are available in the organized retailing as of now in India. Okay, so then according to the latest joint report by Deloitte and Retailers Association of India, the share of organized retail market will increase from about 12% in 2017 to 22 to 25% by 2021. So the size of the organized retail market is going to grow from 12% in 2017, from 12% which was in 2017, it is expected to grow and become 22 to 25% by 2021. As you remember in the previous class, while discussing on organized retailing, we have discussed that the same report has said that the joint report by Deloitte and the Retailers Association of India has said that the unorganized sector, which was 88% in 2017, is going to decline and become 75% in 2021 by 2021. Organized sector is regularized by the government and proper taxes are applied to it. So that's completely under the government regulations, and since they're under the government regulations, they have to pay taxes. Whatever the applicable taxes or applied taxes are there, they need to pay taxes for it. And what are the main advantages of organized retailing? The main advantage of organized retailing is the regular salary as well as the job security. This is something which was not present in unorganized retailing. Unorganized retailing was characterized by no fixed job security and no fixed salary. Okay, that was not properly fixed and not regular. But in organized retailing, this is available. The salary is fixed and the job security is there. You can see that organized retailing has developed in the recent past because of the socio-economic factors. These have led to the growth and development of the organized sectors. Because previously people were having time to go to different unorganized retailers and buy products, merchandise. But today, since both the husband and wife are working and limited amount of time is there, but the buying capacity has increased because since both the husband and wife are working, so these socio-economic changes, education and modernization, and also the consciousness, brand consciousness has resulted the growth of this organized retailing in India. And this unorganized retailing is beneficial for the employees as well as the customers also. However, it is difficult to become a part of the organized retailing because, as we have discussed, a lot of affiliations, rules, and regulations have to be followed. Certain licenses also be procured before entering into the business. So it becomes a very difficult process to enter into organized retailing. Whereas when we discuss about unorganized retailing, it was far more easier to establish. It required less capital and easier to establish. So this is one of the differentiating factor between organized and unorganized retailing. And also organized retailing, since it is under the government and you have to pay taxes. So there are certain regulations you have to follow while operating in the organized retailing. Also, you have to see that there is regular salary and job security available in organized retailing. Here, the employees are able to get more perquisites, more allowances. They're able to have fixed salary, fixed working hours, and also increment facilities also given. And finally, this good fixed intervals are given to see that they are not completely exhausted. So this kind of facilities are available in organized retailing. Having said that, both organized and unorganized retailing is prevalent in India. Both of them are surviving and thriving in India. So when we say look at the broader picture of the Indian retail sector, we have to see that both the organized and unorganized retail sector are present. So there we have to next understand what is the paradigm of this organized and unorganized retail in India. Paradigm of organized and unorganized retail in India. Both organized and unorganized retailing formats have advantages and disadvantages. As we have been discussing in the previous class and also in today's class, also in the first part of the today's class, as we were discussing, there are certain advantages of both organized and unorganized retailing. None of them are perfect. Both have their own pros and cons. Now, if we say that we want only fully unorganized retail format, it will adversely affect the economic growth, government revenues, and will be a hinder in the process of development of the country. Because if there is completely unorganized retail format, it will adversely affect the economic growth. Why? Because these retailers, unorganized retailers, they don't pay taxes. They try to resort to tax evasion. They don't contribute a lot to the GDP of the country. So it is economically adversely to affect the economy and the growth. And finally, the government revenues will dwindle or reduce because they are not paying taxes. Since they are not paying taxes, they are not doing any kind of registration or licensing. They are not entering into that this unorganized retailing. The retailers of unorganized retailing. What happens is that the government revenues by way of taxes and other license or registrations is reduced. So this is also reducing the government revenues. Finally, it will also hinder the process of development of the country because due to the development of organized retail, foreign direct investment has come into the country. A lot of big players have entered into the retail industry. So there is development in the to the country, development of the industry, which leads to the development of the country, and it adds to the GDP of the country. But when we talk about unorganized retailing, they will not pay taxes. They are much more fragmented and they are not modernized, so it will not help and they will not add much to the GDP of the country, and they cannot provide a lot of employment to the people. So this is one of the reasons why it will be hinder the process of development in the country. So we don't want fully unorganized retail market or retail formats in India. Similarly, fully organized retail formats will create unemployment, poverty, and may be bad for the poor consumers. So if we say that we want only organized retail in India, fully organized retail in India, it will cause a lot of unemployment because in order to get a job in organized retailing, you have to have proper formal education, training, skills, knowledge to get a job. Mostly the semi-skilled and unskilled people who were previously employed in this retail, unorganized retailing, cannot be employed under organized retailing. So it will cause a lot of unemployment and poverty and will lead to a lot of problems. Finally, it will also be bad for the consumers. Why? Because the poor consumers will have to pay a premium price for more branded and quality products. The poor consumers who cannot afford a lot of money, cannot spend a lot of money, they resort to buying products or merchandise from unorganized retailing, because in unorganized retailing the pricing of the merchandise is little bit less and it is not premium. But if fully organized formats are available in India, it will cause a lot of problem because it will be bad for the poor consumers, because the poor consumers will not be able to pay a premium price for the quality or the branded products. So this will create problems for them. So fully organized formats will also be not good for the economy. Here the government has to play a very important role in modernizing the unorganized sector and improve its competitiveness. Here the government has to play the part to strengthen the unorganized sector by modernizing it, and also this will help in improving the competitiveness of the sector. Because when we say modernizing the unorganized sector, we mean that the government will help the unorganized sector to use technology in their operations to make them more modern and able to compete or face the competitive in a much more proper way. Because these unorganized retailers, they face a lot of stiff competition from the organized retailers who are much more powerful and have this huge capital to back them. So to improve the competitiveness of this unorganized retail sector, the government has to make certain policies in order to modernize this unorganized retail sector and also help them in improving the competitiveness. Finally, it can be seen that in Indian retail, both organized and unorganized retail are prevalent, and since both the structures of organized and unorganized retail are existing in the economy, we in India have to have a balanced strategy for this organized and unorganized, uh, for this organized and organized unorganized retail in India, because we want that both the things should grow and develop. So we cannot just focus on one, and we have to see that both the organized and unorganized retail thrive and grow in India. So this is very important. There is no doubt that the traditional retail has been performing a vital function in the economy and is significant for the source of employment. However, it suffers certain inefficiencies, resulting as a result of which the consumers do not get what they want, and the farmers also are not able to get good price for their products. This is also very problematic for the farmers. In contrast, the organized retail provides the consumers with a wider choice of goods at lower prices, and also provides a very pleasant shopping experience. This is not provided in unorganized retailing, because in unorganized retailing the wide choice of assortment or choice of goods cannot be provided, because due to this lack of capital they are not able to maintain huge level of inventory, or a different varied assortment is available made available to the consumers. Whereas in organized retail, since they have huge capital backing, they are able to give a variety of products, a good assortment of goods or merchandise to the consumers. Similarly, they are in unorganized retailing. They are not able to take the advantages of economies of scale, and they are not having this good bargaining power with the suppliers. So that is a major problem. But in organized retailing, there is they are taking the advantages of these economies of scale. So that is the reason they are able to provide the similar products or more branded products at much more competitive prices, and they are also able to have a good bargaining power with the suppliers, because they are buying in bulk quantities. So it is for the organized retail, it is easier. And finally, The unorganized retail, the shopping experience is not much pleasant because there are small retail outlets, they are very dingy, dim lighted outlets. But whereas when come to organized retailers, organized retailing, the shopping experience is very pleasant. People who want to go for shopping in organized retailing, they are very happy with the ambience, with the interior, with the decor and the atmospherics that is available in the uh, organized retailing. So people are much more attracted towards that. The competition from organized retailing has affected the business of these traditional retailers, but they are making efforts to stay on. Even though there is a lot of competition from this organized retail, this traditional or unorganized retailing still is trying to stay on their feet. In order to face the competition, they have a lot of ways in which the government can help to modernize this unorganized sector and improve its competitiveness. So as we have discussed that in India, since both of this organized and unorganized retails are available in India, we have to have a more balanced approach towards this and make a balanced strategy for both, to see that both the organized and unorganized sectors of retailing thrive and sustain. So in order to do that, we have to uh, take certain measures should be taken to solve this paradigm of organized and unorganized retail in India. Okay, we'll discuss those measures. Measures to solve the paradigm of organized and unorganized retail. First is liberalization policy for domestic retailers to become organized retail. So liberalization policy and globalization policy is required so that the domestic retailers are able to enter the organized retail. There can be foreign direct investment, and the when there is foreign direct investment and foreign retailers come into the market, these domestic retailers learn a lot from these foreign retailers, and they try to make their operations much more at par with these foreign retailers. So this policy is helping, this liberalization of globalization policy is helping these domestic retailers to become more better and enter into the organized retail in a more better manner. More credit facilities for rural unorganized stores to develop their stores. So more another measures which can be taken is that to provide better credit facilities or credit facilities at lesser interest rates to these rural or unorganized stores to develop their stores. This is very essential because in rural India mostly we have seen that unorganized retailing is prevalent, because this organized retailing is still to penetrate various interior parts of the rural India. So since they have not entered into those rural parts, so unorganized retail is still prevalent there. So good proper credit facilities, if it is provided to these rural unorganized retailers, then they will be able to modernize their systems, their processes. They will make their operations much more better, and they will be able to complete the organized retail in a more better manner. So proper credit facilities at more less interest rates should be provided to these unorganized stores in order to develop their stores. Proper regulatory body for unorganized retailers for establishing retail shops. Proper regulatory body has to be set up for this unorganized retailers for establishing these retail shops, because when there is no regulatory body and anybody can open their retail shops and without following any rules or without getting any affiliations or any registrations, so it, even though it becomes easier to open a shop in unorganized retailing, there is no authority that will manage the or address the problem that is being faced by the unorganized retailers. So a proper regulatory body should be present so that both the unorganized retailers and also the various employees working in this unorganized retail outlets, their rights can be heard, their voices can be heard, and a more in a regulated way the retail unorganized retail outlets can function. Finally, another point is ceiling on prices by the government to control price level on different organized retailers against predatory pricing. So the government has also has to make policy of ceiling of prices. Why? Because ceiling of prices is made done by the government in order to control the price level. Because if it is not done and the organized retailer can enter into predatory pricing, they can price the products lesser than the unorganized retailers, because this organized retailing has a lot of capital with them. They are highly backed by big retail giants, so they have deep pockets, so they will be resorting to predatory pricing. So in order to safeguard this unorganized retailers or the retail sector, the government has to resort to ceiling on prices to see that the control of price level is there and there is no predatory pricing in the market. Educating rural people and improving the standard of living. It is finally also essential to educate the rural people and also how to improve their standard of living, because the retail industry also uh, says about the education level and standard of living of the rural people. So special measures have been taken to educate the rural people and to improve their standard of living. So with this, we have understood what are the measures which should be taken to solve the paradigm of this organized and unorganized retail. Since both of the organized and unorganized retail are available and present in India, proper balanced strategy should be made to see that both the organized and unorganized retailing grow and thrive in India. So we have completed the Indian retail sector structures. Now we will continue with the what are the various formats for unorganized retailing. Okay, for that we will try to first understand the evolution of retail in India. This concept is already understood and discussed in previous classes, but this is only a recap or refreshing the memory so that we will understand what are the various traditional formats, what are the established formats, what are the emerging formats, and accordingly we can understand each of these formats one by one. Okay, so if we see the evolution of retail in India, there were previously traditional formats. What were the traditional formats? Hats, melas, mandis, pockets. These were all traditional formats available in India. This led to the growth of emerging formats or established formats like kirana shops, convenience shops, department stores, fair price shops, pan bidi shops, and brand showrooms. All these things are the established formats which are present in India. Also, there are certain emerging formats which is going to grow in recent mm, future, that is exclusive retail outlets, hypermarkets, supermarkets, e-retailing, malls or specialty malls, fast food outlets, service outlets. So all these things are emerging formats. Even though it is said that emerging, some of them are already are present in the Indian retail sector, and little bit more penetration of these formats are required in tier 2 cities in India. So this is the evolution of retail in India. So here we will be concentrating on the traditional format, that is the traditional formats for the unorganized retailing formats. We'll start with that. Unorganized formats in Indian retail. So under this, the first one is mandis. Mandis are the agricultural market set up by the governments to procure the agriculture produce directly from farmers. So the government has set up these agriculture markets in order to get or procure the agriculture produce from these farmers directly from the farmers. So this government, the state governments have established this kind of mandis, and these mandis are categorized like grain mandis, soya mandis, cotton mandis, vegetable mandis. The various mandis has been categorized accordingly. According to available estimates, there are more than 7,500 regulated agricultural markets or mandis in India today, and these are operating under various state acts covering it. and a huge variety of notified agricultural produce is being procured from these mandis. Okay, so this is the main thing about mandis. Then we'll come to the next unorganized formats, that is HARTS. HARTS is a periodic market which exists typically at village level. It is a periodic market which exists, and why this exists? Because every once in a week or once in 2 weeks or a fortnight, the people of the village people gather together to buy and sell products. So this is a periodic market set up at the village level. A hart can be said to be a public gathering of buyers and sellers of commodities, fruits, vegetables, household goods, clothes, accessories like bangles, etc. So it's a public gathering where both buyers and sellers use buy and gathering of buyers and seller of commodities. Like what kind of commodities? Fruits, vegetables, household goods, clothes, accessories, bangles. These all things are done. And it is important to understand that most of the hearts, nearly 75% of the hearts, are generally occur once in a week, while nearly 20% of hearts occur uh, twice a week, once in twice in a fortnight or 2 weeks. Okay, so this is also another format, unorganized retail format. Now we'll move to the third unorganized format, that is melas. Melas means the rural life has another distinctive feature with it, and that is the melas which are quite popular in our countries. This melas is very popular in our countries, and the classification of mela can be done according to their nature, uh, nature and what are the two classification? One is the commodity melas or commodity fats, and another is the religious melas or the religious fats. Okay, in this way we can divide the melas. There are two types of melas available in India. Virtually every state has a mela, and nearly 25,000 melas happen in a year. 25,000. So this is an idea is this number is given to give you an idea of the number of melas that is happening annually in our country. Nearly 25,000 melas happen every year in our country. And last is another unorganized format in Indian retail, that is your local banya or kirana shop. Everybody must be knowing about the local banya or kirana shop. It is nothing but it is the nearby shop of one's home that stores goods of basic needs like staples, FMCG products, and many a time certain snacks which are ready to eat. So these local banya or kirana shops, they specially deal with staples, FMCG or fast moving consumer goods products, and also uh, very many a times snacks. Okay, and these local banya shops are the backbone of the unorganized retail format, and these are present everywhere. These are generally set up in residential areas, and most stores or stock daily provisions like grocery products like cooking oils, juices, dairy products, chocolates, masalas, fruits, dry fruits, etc. So this Kirana network has is very prevalent in India. Now, Kirana network of stores have stood the test of time and have resisted the predatory power of e-commerce and supermarkets. So, Kirana networks are still prevalent and still strong in India, and have stood the test of time and have faced the predatory power of this e-commerce or online markets, and also the supermarkets and the hypermarkets. So we have to understand why this Kirana stores are still relevant in modern India, where organized retail sector is growing, even though why this Kirana store are still relevant. So we can understand the stores remain relevant because of the following reasons. There are certain reasons because of which the stores are still relevant to in modern India. First is local access and convenience. This Kirana or local Banya stores are operating in residential areas, in local areas. So they have access to the customers directly, and they provide a lot of convenience to the customers because they are in walkable distance from their homes. The consumers can go and get the merchandise from this kirana shop. So this local access and convenience is one of the reasons because of which the kirana stores are still relevant in India. Second is having locally relevant goods. So these kirana stores are relevant, still relevant because they procure and maintain the assortment of goods which are locally relevant. Okay, depending upon the locality in which the kirana shop is established or the kirana shop is there, they keep their assortment of products or merchandise. So if a kirana store is in a very posh area or where government officers are there, residences are there, they have very much more branded products at a premium prices. And similarly, if a kirana store is in a slum area or where the consumers of the kirana store are not very much financially strengthened, in those areas, similar in those areas products are available which are not much premiumly priced, are much more affordably priced, and not much assortment is being provided to them. So depending upon the locality in which the kirana shop is operating, they have relevant goods. So this is the reason they are still relevant in today's time also. The store's owners have amazing pulse on the needs of the local consumers. Since the store owners are locally placed, they have access and they contact and converse with the consumers regularly. They have good relationship with the consumers. They are able to understand what the consumers need, what are their expectations from the kirana shop. So the store owner only keeps those assortments of products or merchandise which the local consumers will purchase. So these store owners have a good understanding of the needs and expectations of these local consumers. Building personal relationship with consumers. This kirana shop, they develop personal relationship with consumers since these kirana shops are continuing for generations. So they in the same locality, they know what are the various customers living in their locality, and they have built these personal relationships for generations. So this is also helps to get more business from the customers, and that is the reason why they are still relevant. Providing a relationship based credit facility to known and regular customers. So since they have this personal relationship, since they know the customers for few generations, and they are operating for few generations, they easily provide this credit facility because they know the customers, that the customer, even though he takes credit, will pay back the credit in time. So they willingly provide credit facility to this known and regular customers. They also provide free home delivery by the store staff. In various kirana shops, they provide this free delivery system to these known and regular customers in order to build this and maintain this personal relationship, because they know if they maintain this personal relationship, the consumers will come back for repeat purchases, and that is very essential because the kirana shops are so much locally present in this residential areas. So they don't want to distract or leave their main target consumers. So they try to give new facilities like home delivery, which helps them to be relevant, still relevant. And finally, they serve as a local community building venue because at this retail kirana shops, small kirana, local banya shops, a lot of people gather and discuss about their local problems, what is going on in the locality. So community building happens during mostly in near this or in front of this local banya or kirana shops. So these are the reasons for which the kirana shops, even though they are facing a lot of uh, competition, stiff competition from online markets or e-commerce markets and also supermarkets and other established organized retail formats, they're still relevant because of the following reasons. So these are the, we have discussed the various traditional unorganized formats that are available in India. In the coming class, we'll be starting with the organized written formats. I will be sending you the notes digitally. Please go through that. If you have any doubts, contact me. No need to panic. Stay at home. Prepare. Thank you for your attention.